Shapiro. All right, so AOC is so catastrophic in her thinking because the bigger the catastrophe, the more government control we need. This is how things match up. Why do you think the Democrats like talking about World War II? Because you know what happened during World War II? A vast government seizure of pretty much everything in the United States. Goods were rationed, prices were controlled, wages were controlled, all the men were put in barracks and given rations. If this was your ideal for how to build an economy, I would say that you've got some real thinking to do about liberty and freedom. But the bigger you can make the catastrophe, the more power you're able to seize. Now, it's amazing because Democrats will suggest that President Trump is doing this with the border. They'll say that he's manufacturing a crisis at the border, and therefore he is seizing executive power in order to build a wall. That is nothing compared to what Democrats are trying to do with the Green New Deal and the issue of climate change. In just a second, I'm going to show you what AOC had to say about this because it's really insane. Again, you have to maximize the damage climate change is going to do and the extremity of how bad things are going to get and how quickly they're going to get in order so that you can grab power in the here and now. So here is AOC suggesting that we will all die, literally we'll all die, if we don't pass her Green New Deal.
We're screwed on climate. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you. If we do nothing, there is no hope. There is a global threat to the planet. A global threat. And at this point, we don't even have to prove it. Just walk outside in winter in a lot of places, and it's either way worse than you're used to or way warmer than you're used to. Hurricanes, storms, wildfires. We are dying now.
We are dying now? What world is she living in? And just a question. Does she know any history at all? The average life expectancy in the United States is 80 years old. 80. People over the centuries would have killed to have that life expectancy. Everyone was dying at like 35, 150 years ago. What is she even talking about? She's sitting in like a top-notch apartment in Washington, D.C., slicing squash and putting it in a blender on Instagram and talking about how we're all going to die and the world is over and you don't even have to provide evidence. All you have to do is walk outside. Really, you seem pretty comfortable there, AOC. It seems like you're kind of living through this thing. I mean, what? Good for you. Such bravery, such toughness, living through this thing while Instagramming here, Instant Pot cooking. Unbelievable. I mean, the coolness under fire. Really, that's what's truly impressive, is that she knows if she walked outside, she'd be dead in a second because of the freezing cold temperatures or because of the massive heat wave thanks to global warming that is happening in the here and now. So bad that she says she does not even have to prove that it's going to happen in the future or that her plans are going to do anything to mitigate it. That's how bad it is because people are dying. It's all over. Everybody freak out. Oh, and by the way, here's my great recipe for a squash kugel. It's just disingenuous. It's obviously disingenuous. It is clearly and obviously disingenuous. And then it gets even better. She says, not only are we all going to die, maybe we shouldn't have kids. Well, listen, AOC, if you want to be the first to start with this, I am fine with that. Frankly, I don't think that if you're going to indoctrinate your kids into believing that they are on the verge of their doom, then please don't. Like, please don't. All these people, I'm not going to have kids because the environment is so scary out there. Again, now is a better time to live than any time in human history. Life expectancy around the world has never been higher. Poverty rates have never been lower. What are you even talking about? What are you saying? But here's AOC encouraging young people not to have babies because it's hot outside or something.
There's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult. And it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. You know, is it okay to still have children? And I mean, not just financially, because people are graduating with $20,000, $30,000, $100,000 worth of student loan debt, and so they can't even afford to have kids in a house, but also just this basic moral question, like, what do we do? And even if you don't have kids, there are still children here in the world, and we have a moral obligation to them to leave a better world for them.
Is it okay to still have children? Okay, if you're taking your moral advice on life from a 29-year-old bartender turned congresswoman who is not married and doesn't have kids, if that's where you're going to get your moral advice, all you, man, go for it. Seriously. I hope you do. I hope you do. If you're a kind of person who thinks this is intelligent commentary from AOC, then I hope you live out all of her prescriptions and don't have kids. Because what the hell? It's inane. It's inane nonsense, but it's inane nonsense that is directed at full-scale alarmism so that she can grab more power. That's all this is about. It's all it was always about. Now, what's hilarious about this is I said earlier that she speaks like a small child on these issues. I said that advisedly. When I say she speaks like a small child, I mean literally like a small child. My favorite video of the last few days, there are a bunch of kids from something called the Sunrise Movement, and they've been indoctrinated by their teachers and by their parents to believe that they are on the verge of their own death, which they are not. Okay, again, the United States is the safest, most prosperous, healthiest country that has ever been. The only possible exceptions are in Western Europe, which we prop up with our economy. And yet, these kids are going to Dianne Feinstein's office and trying to lecture her about climate change. Now, I tweeted out this clip. If this doesn't make you love Dianne Feinstein, I don't know what will. I've despised Dianne Feinstein as my senator for years. Like, I don't know her as a lady. Maybe she's a nice lady. I don't know. But as a senator, I've thought she's terrible for years and for literally my entire life because she's been a senator since I was like 8 years old in the state of California. And I'm now 35. So she's been around for a long time in the state of California. But with all of that said, watch how she, an adult, deals with children on climate change, and it's pretty fantastic.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Please.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not
The
going to get
government's
turned
supposed-
around in
the-
10 years.
the
What we
government's
can
supposed
do
Senator, if
is
this
put
doesn't get turned
ourselves-
around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these
Guess what?
consequences.
The government
And-
is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all
You know
for the
what's
people.
interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that.
Yes! Thank you, an adult. Okay, I don't even agree with Dianne Feinstein on policy, but thank you, for the love of God. And now, please, somebody go say that to AOC. Somebody go say, listen, I'm an adult. I've been doing this for a while. Sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, just stop. Just stop. Say whatever you want. You know, do your stupid Instagram vegetarian chili cooking. Do whatever you want. But if you are going to pretend that you're the boss, come the hell on. So good on Dianne Feinstein owning the small children with the facts and logic. Now, if she will only turn to the small children within her own party, the mental derelicts inside her own party, who apparently have no compunction about saying completely factless things, who are not interested in real solutions, who simply want to primp and pose so that they can get on the covers of magazines and then take more power for themselves so that they can be the boss. Okay, then Dianne Feinstein, step in. Nancy Pelosi, step in. Honest to goodness, you want to make sure your party doesn't collapse into the dust because I don't think most Americans resonate to this. At some point, you're going to have to tell the children to shut up. At some point, you're going to have to tell the children that they don't know what they are talking about. More that they don't know what they're talking about than to shut up. Let them, honestly, from a Republican point of view, from a conservative point of view, keep talking. Like, speak amongst yourselves and in front of the cameras. Please do this.